Eu nunca imaginei estar casada com um homem que tem outras mulheres. Então, eu vivo isso hoje e eu vejo que é totalmente diferente do que eu pensava antes.
I think with Lorrana being pregnant and a baby on the way, this does make it feel more real because you have a human being involved. This is really happening. Like, Lorrana's part of our lives and our family, and she will be indefinitely. And no matter what happens between Garrick, Lorrana, and I, there's always going to be a baby. Nothing's going to change that. And God forbid, nothing happens and we all stay together and, you know, we grow old together. That's the dream.
All right, you guys. So right as we were all trying to process that absolute train wreck that was the last few minutes of the Seeking Sister Wife finale, the off-camera drama decided to really pop off as well. Garrick Merrifield has been arrested for domestic violence. And you guys, when I tell you the details are bad, they are pretty fucking crappy. We're gonna get into the details of the arrest, the truly shocking allegations, and what this all means for the Merrifields and their future on TLC. For so many of us who have been watching this play out for years, this doesn't even feel like a plot twist. It feels like a grim, inevitable conclusion that we all saw coming for years. All of those on-screen red flags were basically giant flashing billboards pointing to an eventual off-screen disaster. The only real question left is anyone actually surprised? We have a lot to talk about. Let's get into today's video. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. So to understand the weight of this real life family implosion that has just happened, we have to rewind to the season 6 finale of Seeking Sister Wife because of course the timing seems to be perfect. The ink was barely dry on his marriage license with his new Brazilian wife, Lorrana, when Garrick was already plotting his next acquisition. In a scene that left his entire family and all of us completely stunned, Garrick announced it was time to start looking for a third wife immediately.
You know, we're definitely still seeking. It's a calling on our family, so we're definitely looking for the third wife, and we're going to continue to pursue that.
I know we live in the plural, but at the moment I don't feel very comfortable looking for another wife now, because it's all very new to me. Having a baby and not having much time with Gar makes me a little worried.
I definitely totally understand where you're coming from and your feelings. You know, I get it, but we are a plural family, and I know it's a calling from God and that we have to be open to what He has. And if that is tomorrow or 3 months from now, I don't know, but I know He's in perfect control and we have to keep seeking. So for now, we're just gonna have to keep an open heart and mind to what God has.
The real kicker here wasn't that he just wanted another wife. It was how he planned to get her. He laid out this whole master plan, noting that since this next potential wife might also be from another country, his first wife, Danielle, should be the one to legally marry her.
You know, if God had us to meet another woman from another country, truly our best option would be Danielle would have to marry her to have her come here. You know, just because we don't know how long it would take before me and Lorrana could get divorced where I could marry another woman.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, she can get a green card, but then it takes like 5 to 10 years to actually her to become a citizen, so.
Danielle, how do you feel about that?
I feel like it's more of a discussion I feel like we need to have. I thought it was going to be a couple years for her like adjustment of status and they could divorce. And then I didn't realize like it would take so long and that would be, you know, in the next year if we're adding someone that it would be on me to marry them from another country, somebody.
You know, married life has struggles, especially when you do it God's way. It's a lot to go through, but it's expected.
His reasoning was just cold, hard logistics. It was a shortcut for a green card, a process he pointed out could take 5 to 10 years otherwise. The look on Danielle's face, I mean, you could literally see the shock and confusion as she processed this. She mumbles, "I wasn't aware of that," which made it painfully obvious this was not a family decision, but another one of Garrick's top-down decrees. This moment was the perfect encapsulation of what has driven viewers crazy for years. Garrick's decisions always land like these non-negotiable declarations that his wives are just supposed to accept. He legally legally divorced Danielle, his wife of over a decade and the mother of his children, to marry someone else, all claiming it was this calling from God. But season after season, we've watched Danielle's tears and her hesitation be a constant painful backdrop to Garrick's spiritual journey. This finale felt less like a family discussion and more like a gross business negotiation. It was clinical, focused on immigration law instead of any real human connection, with Danielle once again looking like a pawn in Garrick's game. This on-screen manipulation really set the stage for the real-world drama that was about to blow up, and boy, did things blow up. When the cameras stopped rolling, just as the finale was airing, the Merrifields carefully constructed, in their minds only, image of a blessed, happy plural family came absolutely crashing down. Right before Thanksgiving, on Monday, November 24th, 2025, Garrick Merrifield was arrested in Colorado, and the charges are pretty messed up. We're talking a misdemeanor charge of domestic violence and, more specifically, this thing called obstruction of telephone service. He has since bonded out of jail, but this is more than just a small legal hiccup. In Colorado, a domestic violence charge triggers a whole cascade of immediate legal actions. This wasn't just a simple argument. It was an incident serious enough that police had to intervene, and it has now plunged this family into a complete legal nightmare. The timing of this arrest is almost poetic in its hypocrisy. This all went down just a week after Garrick and his wives gave this big announcement to People magazine about the birth of his and Lorrana's new baby girl, a baby apparently named after me, Sarah. Now, their daughter was actually born back in July of 2025, but they chose to go public with it in mid-November. In that announcement, Garrick was just gushing about the benefits of plural co-parenting. The absolute whiplash between that glowing public statement and this domestic violence arrest just days later is jarring. It really makes you wonder what is actually going on behind closed doors. We need to talk about this obstruction of telephone service and what it actually means. It might sound like a technical charge, but when viewed in a domestic violence context, it's really chilling. Under Colorado law, this charge is often used when someone intentionally prevents another person from calling for help, like trying to call 911. And the details from the arrest affidavit, which TMZ managed to get their hands on, are deeply troubling. The incident reportedly started with a major argument between Garrick and his new wife, Lorrana. According to what Lorrana told the police, when she was going to call them, Garrick snatched her phone away. He also allegedly refused to let her call her family back in Brazil, effectively cutting her off from an entire support system. And allegedly, Garrick escalated even further when he threatened to call Immigration and Customs Enforcement on his own wife. We need to be crystal clear about the power dynamic at play here. Lorrana is in the United States on a visa, and she told police this threat terrified her because she doesn't know all the laws of this country. This wasn't just an angry outburst. It was a calculated threat using her immigration status as a weapon to scare her into silence. This is a classic, terrifying tool of control. After Garrick allegedly took her phone, Lorrana tried to use her other devices to figure out how to contact law enforcement, only to discover that the Wi-Fi had been disconnected, which she believes Garrick did to isolate her even further. What's also really interesting is that the report notes that Lorrana told police she didn't actually want Garrick arrested. This is an incredibly common response from victims in domestic situations who often depend on their abuser financially and emotionally, or they just fear escalating the situation any further. Despite her wishes, the police did move forward and arrested him. These allegations completely shift the narrative from a simple marital spat to a story of alleged coercion, intimidation, and control, and it paints a picture of Garrick that is far darker than anything we've seen on the show. An arrest for domestic violence kicks off an immediate and serious legal process, and Garrick Merrifield is now stuck right in the middle of it. He posted bond and is out of custody, but freedom comes with some very strict conditions. The biggest consequence is the mandatory protective order that was issued against him. And this isn't merely a suggestion, it's a court order that legally forbids Garrick from having any contact with Lorrana. It also reportedly bans him from the family home. So all of a sudden, this patriarch who has preached about this divinely united family all living under one roof is now legally barred from his own house and speaking to his wife. The irony. The case is now making its way through court. Records show Garrick had a court appearance on December 2nd, which was just the first step in a legal battle that will decide his future. A misdemeanor domestic violence conviction in Colorado can carry penalties like jail time, but he will likely get fines and mandatory counseling. For this family, the chaos is really just beginning. This man who sold himself as their spiritual leader is now facing the justice system for allegedly threatening his wife. The protective order has literally fractured this plural family ideal that they have been selling to the world for years. The future of the Merrifield family is no longer in Garrick's hands. It's up to the courts. So while the Merrifields themselves have remained completely silent, their social media activity is speaking volumes. In the days after Garrick's arrest, eagle-eyed fans noticed a very swift and telling purge happening on Danielle Merrifield's Instagram page. Almost every single photo of Lorrana was wiped clean. The baby announcements, the happy family pictures, all gone. Reportedly, only a single promo photo for the show that includes Lorrana is left. To a lot of people, this digital erasure looks like Danielle is closing ranks, siding with Garrick. This is especially heartbreaking when you remember what Danielle was quoted saying just a few weeks ago in that People magazine piece about the baby. Danielle talked about how wonderful co-parenting was and how blessed they were to have Lorrana in the family. The speed at which Lorrana went from being a blessing to being digitally erased is a brutal reminder of just how conditional her place in this family might have been. It raises the question, was she only considered part of the family as long as she played by Garrick's rules? And it really begs the question, are we ever going to discuss the immigration fraud and human trafficking of it all? Garrick successfully divorced his wife he still purports to be married to in order to plural marry a Brazilian woman he brought over on a K-1 visa. That is fraud. Polygamy is illegal in the United States. More than that, on camera, he drops this bombshell intention of wanting to commit more fraud by forcing Danielle to marry future international women. How would this be anything other than human trafficking? This whole thing just exposes a deep, disturbing hypocrisy. For years, Garrick has used faith as his justification for literally everything. He claimed he was inspired by God to live this lifestyle, and that divine calling has been his shield for upending his family and divorcing Danielle. But the allegations of threatening to call ICE on his wife and preventing her from calling the police have absolutely nothing to do with faith. They are textbook tactics of abuse. This suggests that for Garrick, this was never about a higher calling. It was about his own power, creating a kingdom where his wives are not his partners, they're his subjects. What we have here is the tragic collision of drama that makes for great reality TV having very real life consequences. The on-screen drama of Garrick wanting more and more wives was one thing, but these off-screen allegations of intimidation and abuse are really horrifying. The man who constantly talked about a family built on God's love now stands accused of using fear and control. The protective order has literally fractured the very family he claimed he was building. TLC is in a really tough spot here. The network has been completely silent, probably wanting to see how the legal process plays out, but the pressure is definitely going to build. I mean, can they really continue to feature a man accused of these kind of acts on their network? Especially when it involves leveraging someone's immigration status. I mean, we have seen that happen on 90 Day Fiancé before, so I wouldn't put it past TLC. The future of Seeking Sister Wife could very well depend on what they decide to do next. This leaves us with so many unanswered questions. What is going to happen to Lorrana and her baby? Will Danielle continue to stand by Garrick through all of this? And what do you guys think TLC should do? Should they fire him? As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Check out my second channel, Sarah Spills, and my podcast, Mostly Harmless. Links for both of those will be in the description of this video. Follow me on Instagram, Threads, X, and TikTok at Reality Squad, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. Much love.